The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, this is it, man. This is the 100th episode of the ModernJeeper Show, and it's live. YouTube.com/ModernJeeper. This is pretty cool. So if you're listening to this on Thursday, well, you missed out the live show, but man, this is awesome. Of course, Matson from Metalcloak, Mr. ModernJeeper Corey Osborne.
Hey, guys.
And Rockstar Jeep Girl, Jessy. 100 episodes.
100 episodes.
100.
Can you believe when we started this that we'd do 100 of them?
I thought it'd be hard to do 5. We've talked about this commitment problem we have.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, it's pretty cool. We're here at Metalcloak World headquarters. So this is also one of the few episodes we've done where we're all in the same room together.
Right.
Yeah, very, very rare.
And especially since we just started doing YouTube videos, 5 episodes ago? Something like
5
that?
or 6, something like that.
Yeah, which has been kind of cool. I mean, we did some experimentation for that, but to be in the same room and then have all of you guys out there watching us. A little bit of details, a little bit of housekeeping we'll do here in a second, but we are actually here at Metalcloak World headquarters in our green room. If you didn't, you see all this fancy stuff behind us and the big ModernJeeper logo behind us, but it's just a cool little place that we get to do films and videos and like our Metalcloak minutes and product releases. It's a nice little place to have.
I actually had to change clothes today because I wore a green shirt. So, in case everybody's wondering, I would have just been a floating head, which that wouldn't have been.
I don't know. We debated on that.
Right.
It would have been kind of cool. And then you could have stood up and gone down. And there's some other company with some other guy who's a funny marketer who did that for one of his videos. Although I think it'd be kind of fun to have like a little bouncing ball going across the bouncing head, bouncing Corey head.
Well, I think there was
ModernJeeper, ModernJeeper.
I recall a video that you had done, maybe it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, and you held up a diff cover.
Uh-huh.
And everybody went, hey, where can I get those cool, clear diff covers?
Well, it was also, if you put it here, you actually just saw the background.
Yeah, right.
So it was magic.
Definitely
Probably
magic.
something out of the DC comic universe. Because it was, Marvel wouldn't do that.
Well, it's kind of fun that, after a year and, this isn't our second year, 300 episodes.
This is the beginning of our third year.
Third year. So 100 episodes. We've done some pretty fun things. We've done some really great giveaways. But really, it's about our listeners and our followers and the people who have been watching us that has made a difference. And that's why we keep doing these.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I went through, and our very first episode was done January 25th. January 25th, 2019, we did our very, very first episode. Huh. And like I said, we got a little housekeeping to tell you guys about for the I Resolve Jeep guys. We'll do that in a second. But January 25th. So literally almost 2 years to the day.
2 years to the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
And I'm not going to talk politics. Today is also something
We really were trying not to.
But I do want to say that today is Inauguration Day. And I don't care which side of the aisle you are. It's a very special moment in our country's history. We're recording this on the 20th, Inauguration Day, and it is, I don't care, again, what side of the aisle you're on. Every 4 years, we get to have this kind of activity allowing this peaceful transition between governments. And I think it's just part of the amazing thing about America.
It's the reason that we get to be here. It's all of our freedoms allow us to do what we're passionate about.
That's
and,
true.
I mean, I think we all should just, I think there's a lot of things we all take for granted. And we're all Jeepers at heart. And we all get to do, like I said, we get to follow our passions and we get to share our passions with you all.
Yeah,
so,
we do this for a living. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, right?
Hey, so a little bit of rules. iResolveTheJeep.com. Here are the rules, okay? To enter this contest, many of you may be watching this just thinking, hey, it's ModernJeeper Show live, so I want to watch it, and maybe you didn't get involved in I Resolve the Jeep. I Resolve the Jeep has been going for about 9 years, and we started originally with the idea that, you didn't really get stuff for Christmas. And other companies were doing Christmas stuff and giveaways, like, let's get past Christmas, get in the new year, resolve the Jeep with Metalcloak, and tell us what you want for your rig, and then we'll go through that. Now, each of your entries that you did at ModernJeeperForum.com had 3, first, second, and third. Throughout this show, we will go through and randomly, using a randomizer, select each one of those. Now, we will start with the third place. We will randomly select a number. Corey will look it up on the forum and identify the individual who is there. And we'll make sure that your entries are correct because there were some rules on how you do your entries. And we'll select that one. You'll be the winner. You'll have basically by the end of today to get back to us on that and be able to contact us about that so we can get it to you. We'll do that with the second person and we'll do that with the first place. So 3, 2, and 1. In between all of that, we will do random selections not only from the forum, but random selections. Jessy is monitoring Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live. She'll be looking at comments. And if there are something that stands out to her, we'll be saying, hey, choose somebody to give away something.
Ask us some cool questions.
Yeah, if you guys have things that you've wanted us to talk about in the past and haven't had a chance, this is your opportunity. And I know a lot of our followers and our watchers today are following it because of I Resolved a Jeep, but this is also for our podcast. So if you've not listened to our podcast, it's very random. We're all over the board.
That's
we cover
right.
a lot of things. So yeah, if it's Jeep related, we're more than happy to talk about it, and we'll give you the best.
Anything related, honestly. And we'll be giving away a bunch of stuff like one of these orange hats is actually the last one produced. This orange hat we'll give away. We have ModernJeeper shirt we're giving away.
Oh, we got
we
stuff.
have
We got
calendars to give
stuff.
away.
Share it out. Share it out, guys.
We got jackets, shirts, hoodies, all kinds of stuff, including the new $110 Metalcloak jacket that'll be listed on the site probably by the end of this week. We got one of those to give away.
I think there's a.
I brought something really cool that you can't get yet. I mean, you can, but it's on
you
back
find
order.
it. So you guys have seen this,
Yeah.
right? So this has been donated to be given away by Jessy for the whole Modern Jeeper Show. This is pretty awesome, and because of that, you guys got to figure out how you want to select that. It could be in here, it could be in there. You decide.
Maybe
what
it'll
you
be the
wanna do.
best question. Maybe it'll be a topic that you all want us to chat about. So.
And then, of course, you have to actually figure out yourself how to put it together. But,
It's not that hard.
And we've got some other interesting stuff that we'll talk about. So anyway, those are the rules. We'll go through it. Now, if we select somebody on here as a third, second, or first, and you don't get back to us, sorry, guys, we're not going for a backup or a backup. We're just going to select from here. And if you go through and they don't qualify because they didn't follow all the rules at iresolvethejeep.com, then they don't qualify. We'll figure that out afterwards. Kind of like a race. You go through a tech race. A tech check usually happens on the winner after the race, not before.
That's right.
So,
What have you been doing?
What have I been doing?
Yeah.
Same old, 3 kiddos, a Jeep, 2 Jeeps, and although the thing is, wife's talking about a fourth, like she wants. So for all of our Modern Jeeper fans, this is how we go all over the place. We just yesterday, the big news is yesterday, which would be Tuesday for everybody, we signed the documentation to be able to fully adopt Vivian, our little baby girl. She's
Pretty cool.
18, 19 months now. Little genius. All kids are geniuses to their parents, right?
She's gonna rule the roost.
Oh, she already is controlling the boys. I'm telling you, I don't know if it's good influence or bad because she hits harder, but it was great. So now, of course, the wife's talking about 4, but I told her we can't do that for one reason. I can't fit a 4th seat in the back of the Gladiator.
Yeah, where are you gonna have to have like a 7-row seating for 7 inside.
I know.
Build a
Now
new
she
car.
does have that new Wagoneer seating for 7, right?
We saw a 6-door at Winter 4x4 Jamboree, a 6-door JK.
A 6-door JK.
Yeah,
Where were they at last?
I'm not sure.
There was 2 of them.
Was that the 6-wheel drive one?
No, it was just 2 axles and
might have
6
been a
doors.
truck,
It's like a limo JK.
Yeah,
A limo JK.
pretty much.
See, I like that. I like that.
They have lots of rows for seats.
Now, was it a wheeler or was it a mall crawler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see it will, but I
Yeah.
haven't seen it
You
will.
think the JT Gladiator is long on the trail?
Oh Lord.
That
Well,
6-door was.
You remember the Monstrosity? The Monstrosity, Daystar's Monstrosity? The market
Yes.
built? Yeah.
Yes.
That was 2 TJs, 2 halves of a TJ. Literally, you have the TJ. I think he not only did he make it a 4-door TJ in length, but he also put 2 halves. It had 2 center consoles in it.
That's right.
And it was like on a Ford F-250 frame or something. Yeah, but it actually
too long.
wheeled it. He wheeled it through Moab.
too long.
I don't know if
Yeah.
Moab's probably the only place you went. It was wide. I don't know, length wasn't the problem, it was width.
So fitting
Although it's
all
never
of-
been heard that length is length versus girth. Which is better?
Oh no.
You decide.
We're not going to go there.
Oh.
Comments.
So fitting your kids into a Jeep. Well, I mean, now with the Gladiator, though, you could come up with something. Remember the Subaru Brats that had 2 seats
I live
in
in
the
California. That's illegal.
back? Oh, yeah.
But if you're a bunch of like farm workers,
See?
it's legal.
You could do that. Take up farming.
Take up.
Well, we got a good question. Maybe you guys can explain it.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
Somebody's asking about what's the difference between a lock and load and a 4-link system, pros and cons.
Whoa.
Hey.
That's a good question.
We're going to
It is
go
a good
technical.
question.
You go technical.
All right.
Okay, so there's a real basic reason why we have both kits. Ultimately, a 4-link system is your best long arm system. It's going to have the best geometry, best ride quality, best setup. However, a 4-link takes more to install than a radius arm system. Because we came up with a lock and load specifically for the TJ, which really prefers that setup. It's a lot easier to put a radius arm system on a TJ. We applied that to the JK, so we came up with a very easy to install, relatively easy to install system with the radius arm lock and load. And then we did the 4-link. The reason for the lock and load is more about the binding that happens with a radius arm typically on an axle. If you think about it, you have 2 Y-links on an axle, and as an axle articulates, it binds. The lock and load on one arm simply allows there to be give, so it's not binding as much. That's why the lock and load exists. On a JK, you cut off the stock brackets, you bolt on the front arms, everything else is bolt on. On a 4-link system, you cut off the stock brackets and you weld on the front brackets.
Yeah, you know, if you think about it, I mean, we're talking about a 4-link setup, which goes up to the frame mounts completely different than the lock and load radius arm type setup. The radius arm type setup only has 2 points that are connected to the frame. So the way I always describe it to folks who get on the CTI trailer is just like Matson said, once one end, when you take an axle and articulate it, as that bends, it has to rotate, which is why the lock and load exists, is because it takes the pressure off of ripping the brackets basically off the axle side. So, yeah, good questions.
Great question.
Out of all of our episodes that we did through the Modern Jeeper Show podcasts, my favorite episodes by far were the technical episodes. And we've had some great guests. I mean, we talked to Greg from Raceline Wheels. We got a whole technical explanation of the design and reasons to run beadlocks. Steve Sasaki from Power Tank. We got all schooled a little bit on some physics and some gas, the reason gases react a certain way. Andrew Hoyt from Milestar Tire. We've had some really technical episodes, and I think those are probably my favorites.
Well, good, because we're going to talk about our favorite episode later, which one yours, and mine, as well as our top episodes, which is surprising, because before I looked it up this afternoon, I would have not told you what the top 5 episodes are. I would not have been able to answer that question. I thought I knew, but I didn't know. So wait and hear.
That's interesting.
And one that has actually popped up and become one of the top episodes, and it was kind of a sleeper episode.
Interesting.
It is
now I'm curious.
Yeah,
I haven't
see?
looked for a little while.
More for you to look at. Now, it is
Right.
15 minutes into, or about 13 minutes in, but I think that's a perfect time to just dive right in with our first major giveaway.
Yeah.
All right, this is our first major giveaway,
All
which
right.
means we're going to start with number 3. Give you guys a taste of how it works. We're going to start with number 3. Now, I have the randomizer, and our little randomizer here, there we go, there's the app, and set it up. What is the top number there on page 17?
On page 17 pages of entries.
17 pages. Go all the way down to the bottom. What's that number there?
We have 329
329 entries. So,
entries.
all right. 329 entries. So the randomizer is set from entry number 1, because entry number 2, because entry number 1 is me spouting off stuff, to 329. All right. We are going to randomize. Boom. That's probably going to be, it's green right now, so you probably can see right through it because of the green screen. Okay, number 321, which makes it easy because it's on page 17.
Well, that's kind of interesting. 321 happens to be Ryan Kelsey.
Ryan Kelsey, congratulations. Now let's take a look and make sure he did it right. So he has a number 3 is a JK Wrangler 6-pack shock upgrade system. Oh, upgrade system, because you put a couple of different things and you put the 6-pack shock upgrade system. Now, I hope you actually have everything it takes to be able to do that, but that's fine. You can just buy all the rest of the parts to make a full 6-pack system. So congratulations, Ryan Kelsey. JK Wrangler 6-pack shock upgrade system, entry number 3.
That's a huge item.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a couple
that's
$1,000
cool.
item right there.
Right?
Right off the bat. Man, I think this is going to be a 6-pack. We have gone episodes of this where we never gave away any suspension.
True.
Or we gave away a suspension and the person didn't even reach out.
Yeah. It was a couple years ago, I think I don't think that top prize ever left.
No. So Ryan Kelsey, your responsibility today is to reach out to us either via the Modern Jeeper forum or via YouTube or Facebook, and just reach out to us some way, or just email me, Matson@metalcloak.com, and we'll get you all taken care of. Make sure our team gets details from you and gets it shipped out to you ASAP. But you have until the close of business today. All right? Today, not tomorrow. And that's today, Wednesday, the 20th, Inauguration Day, not the next day, if you're listening to this on, so you understand.
What day is today? Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Okay,
20th.
just checking.
These guys have been a whirlwind because you were just basically, we went to
Yeah, we were in Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Yep.
Hurricane.
Winter 4x4 Jamboree. This year was
How wintry was it?
it
was
wasn't
nice.
It was actually pretty nice. A little
Yeah, it
windy,
was nice.
but
Windy?
in
No
Hurricane,
snow?
it should be windy.
Right.
Hurricane.
Does it snow in Hurricane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
Was there any
thinking
snow?
of dusting.
No.
No snow.
And this is all Sand Hollow area, or what's?
Yep,
Yes.
all Sand Hollow area. The folks that put that event on this year was great. I mean, they had more registered Jeeps this year than they did last year, which is great during the year that we all came through,
Right,
2020.
right.
Well, we're not supposed to talk about 2020 anymore.
No.
Just over 800 rigs registered for that event. Vendor show was great. CTI event for us, first one of the year. It's always great to see people come out, and we had some crazy rigs. We had Chuck from Black Ops out there with one of his crazy
Maxing the
builds,
trailer
Max the
out.
trailer out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I shared that on our Reddit channel.
Yeah,
I think
it was
the
good.
Reddit channel, the Reddit r/Jeep on Reddit, been doing some stuff on. Awesome guys. Many of them are not the usual, rock crawler types that build builds. I think they were a little floored by that image.
It was pretty huge.
yeah, it was a good show. It was a good show,
That's
though.
awesome.
A lot of social distancing still taking place, but the trails at Sand Hollow, I can't imagine where else you'd want to be. So
Modern Jeeper, social distancing since 1941.
Can't see it.
You can't see it? Oh, the yellow right through. That's too
Dang
bad.
it.
Again,
You
one of
you didn't even see the white?
You can see the white, you just can't see the yellow.
Oh, yeah, okay. Who cares about the yellow?
that's funny.
That's funny.
I think we should all wear green suits.
I think they need
Yes.
to make this into a blue room instead of a green room.
Right.
Right.
we
So
did.
many stuff, yellows, and our favorite, Corey can't even wear his hat.
I put my hat on and my head
It's
went
not
away.
showing.
That was not going to be good.
So the big
Flat top.
question of the day so far is: are we gonna make Bronco parts?
You know what? Anything's possible.
Yeah, that's
In
right.
fact, one of the big things we're releasing here in the next
Yes.
in the next
I'm super excited.
month or so
Yes.
is going to be and you guys all got a sneak peek of this back in Off-Road Expo, well, the last Off-Road Expo, because they didn't want to do one in 2020. Off-Road Expo 2019 was our Dodge Ram kits. Now, why did it take so long from the release to actually be coming out to market? It's because we like to test and test and test. And as testing, we ran into some things that we didn't like. And so we redo things. Now, there are certain things like coils. Coils take time. We don't produce coils in-house. For the stuff we produce in-house, inventory's on the shelf ready to go. But coil testing, shock testing, everything else to make sure that it was the kit that we want. And there's going to be 2 kits. This is what's cool. We'll have our full-on lock and load. We just talked about the lock and load.
Yep.
Now, the lock and load for the JK is like this.
Right.
The lock and load for the Dodge is like this.
I wish I would have brought up one of the arms.
The arms are pretty
I can
cool.
put my hand through the arm end for the joint.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the JK joints are like this, and
Yeah.
and that's
It's that
like
big around.
massive.
Yeah, it's
Massive.
and again, the folks that saw it in 2019 were like, "Hey, we saw this lift for a Dodge Ram. How come you guys don't have it on the website yet?" Testing.
Yeah.
And there's been some revisions and there's been a lot of changes. So again, yeah, that truck drove all the way to Pomona and came all the way
here
back.
we go. Look.
Oh, perfect.
Part of our
There
crew
you go.
here. So yeah, JK, Dodge.
Ram. Yes.
Ram. JK, Ram. JL, Ram. This thing's like, this
Yeah,
is
that's
now,
significant.
some of you have seen a joint similar to that in the TJ lock and load log on because we had those in inventory. We've had those because we thought we were going to go into the market quicker.
Right.
But that's beefy.
Probably weighs 2.5 pounds, I'll bet.
Probably. And that is the joint. That is the Duraflex joint for that. So that is the lock and load kit, which is ultimately all about flex. I don't know if anybody's ever really built a kit for a Dodge. I don't really know the market as well as I should, but that was really focused on flex. Right? Now the Dodge is great on flex on its own, but you start adding this stuff in, and we're just trying to make this massively awesome kit.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
go ahead.
changing those control arms makes a significant difference. On my 2006 Dodge that I used to use as our tow rig for the CTI trailer, it had Metalcloak arms on it way back when, and it tightened up things a lot. I mean, there was some I don't know how to phrase it. Driving it down the highway on the stock arms and then switching to the Metalcloak arms, I got a lot more responsiveness out of it, I guess, is the best way to put it. And I got more flex. It didn't go off-road a lot, but I still towed with that rig a significant amount, and it just made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about another question?
Okay.
So, what is the main advantage of your 6-pack shocks over the Fox shocks you offer? And are the 6-packs turnable?
Tunable.
Tunable.
I can't read.
No, they're not tunable. There is something coming down the pike that might be tunable, though, so pay attention. Watch things.
Right.
We're going to hint.
Hints, very
Differences
Easter
in
egg
shocks.
hints.
Different. I mean, honestly, it's all the 6-pack's all about travel. The 6-pack is built on a concept of a 50-50 ratio where you're going up travel and down travel with your suspension. Up travel and down travel. It's a 50-50 ratio, so you get just as much up travel as you would down travel. Most shocks are focused on down travel. There's not a lot of, because of the size of the body, you don't get much up travel out of it. When you have something like the Rocksport long travel shock, it gets as much possible travel out of it. Here's a little secret. The Fox shocks we sell for our 3.5-inch kit are the ones others sell for their 4.5 and larger kits. So we had to get the bigger shock of the Fox shock just to have somewhat equal amount of travel, but the travel is still less than you get with a Rocksport or 6-pack.
Right. I mean, those 6-pack shocks, their original design was because in the rear of a JK, there just wasn't a whole lot of room for a long-bodied, long-travel shock. So that 6-pack, it having a body that was, inches shorter than most long-travel shocks, gives us the ability to have a much more length, end-to-end length. I mean, once you start to compress your suspension, there's a reason that 6-pack works so well is because you're able to gain all that up travel. Think about that long shock bottoming out before the 6-pack does because of the shorter body. That's what you gain in the up travel.
Hey, let's just give away something random. So choose somebody randomly within YouTube, and we're going to give them away the shirt that you couldn't see.
A shirt that you couldn't see. Let's see. How about
That's not very random. Cool.
That's not very random.
Bob Doan?
Bob Doan?
Yep.
Bob Doan, shirt, okay? You're going to get one of these. You got to reach out to us by the end of the day and just let us know. Congratulations, you got one of the shirts. Just let us know your size. We'll get it shipped out to you. That's a Modern Jeeper shirt. And let's choose somebody else for another one. We'll do another Modern Jeeper shirt.
How about David Perez?
David Perez. Okay,
David
David
Perez.
Perez. Reach out to us. So we got a Modern Jeeper shirt going to David Perez and to Bob Doan. Congratulations, guys. Awesome. Lots more to give away. In fact, let's do it again. Corey, you just randomly choose somebody out of your category to give.
Let's see here. Out of these 17 pages of entries, let's see what I got. Let's go to page, let's go to page 8. Let me get down there a little bit. Go back to 8. Go. How about Robbie Stewart?
Robbie Stewart, congratulations. Robbie Stewart, you get a choice. Modern Jeeper calendar. We have the Cloakworks edition. We have the ARS edition, Adventure Rack Systems, if you're not familiar with that brand, and of course the Metalcloak edition. Just let us know which one you have. Just choose another one.
Let's do, how about Nick Mullins?
Nick Mullins, congratulations again. Just let us know which one you want. Reach out to us. By the way, if you're in the forum and you won something that doesn't disqualify you from still winning.
Right,
one of the
right.
big
Yeah,
prizes.
this is still these names aren't being used up. We're not getting rid of them. You still exist as your entries for the I Resolved a Jeep.
By the way, this was cool. This picture here on the Adventure Rack Systems, this is actually Scott Becker, the guy who heads up our media team that does all the amazing work that you guys see. That's his back right there. You can see. Now, there's some green in here, so because of the green screen, some of it might be disappearing. But
Some of your shirts are disappearing when you're showing it too, Matt.
yeah, is it?
Yeah, well, the shirts that you're showing up.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, yeah, we know-
The yellow.
Yeah, that's what they were telling us.
Our
You can't see
executive
it.
producer we're getting feedback from the guys, Scott Becker included, and his team of guys who are actually putting this thing together for us.
Yes,
So.
the executive producer, director, boss. So let us know which one you want, and appreciate
one
you
more.
coming by and
Let's
saying
do,
hi.
let's do another one.
All right,
Zach Hope.
Zach Hope. Okay, again, tell us which one of these you want, and we'll send it out to you.
What else you want to do?
Well, I want to talk about the top episodes.
Okay, we can
We're
do
talking
that.
about top episodes?
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure,
Why not?
Cool.
absolutely.
All right. So, and then we're almost at a point where we're going to do another big
Giveaway. All right.
Big, maybe. That's look at that.
Top episodes.
So,
top
what do you
episodes.
think the very one top episode?
For a long time, I know it was the Light Bright. Our friends Kevin and Brittany, when we had them on at KOH, and then I think it switched, and I don't know if they ever gave way to Andrew Hoyt's episode from Milestar Tires, our Tires 101 podcast.
There was a battle going between the two of them.
There
for a
was
while.
for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So, surprisingly, this is an interview episode. The number one episode, Scott Radflow, OCD, off-road.
That was
Oh,
such a
Scott.
fun episode.
And it's
And
episode number 77 of the Modern Jeeper
talk
Show.
about a random episode too. And we covered again
A lot.
all
Everything.
over the board. Yeah, for sure.
Everything. And yeah, he's at 888 plays as of just this morning.
Interesting.
And it was a great episode. It was one of these, it just kind of became a sleeper episode that just blew up. So it became our number one episode. But you're right, for the longest time it was Milestar Tires and Light Bright.
Yeah.
Now, they're still on the top list, but just not number one right now. Now, the number two episode is kind of cool. And I think it may be blew up because of the fact that this is our 100th episode. So based on that hint, what do you think
Right.
our number one or number two episode of all time is?
Oh, it's gotta
The
be.
laugh?
It's gotta be the year end with Rick and the no.
No.
I don't know.
It is episode number one.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Episode number one has 805 plays.
Huh.
Nice.
So
Well, I
it
guess
probably
if
means
you're
a bunch of people going and watching the show and then going,
Right.
are these guys a bunch of wackos or are we actually going to,
Sometimes.
And it was the very first one. It literally, the intro and everything is different on the episode.
Oh, it's the sound.
By
I'm sure.
episode 2, we kind of had a beginning and an end because I think we did the first episode and one of our friends who does YouTube stuff all the time chastised us.
Yeah, I know we had some. Man, our sound back in the day and all of that, we were using literally just built-in stuff to our laptops and computers. And Matson may have been at home, and I was on the road. I think we did some episodes where I was sitting in parking lots at fast food restaurants.
That was the fun part, though. You'd always
Yeah.
stop someplace. Generally, it was an Arby's. Wasn't it?
Generally, it was an Arby's.
Yeah.
It was an Arby's.
Yes.
Arby's somewhere in Texas.
Raton, New Mexico.
Raton, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite Arby's parking lot to do podcasts from, apparently.
Thank you, Arby's. You've got the meat. I did one inside. I was in the sauna once. I remember that.
Yes, I
I
remember
was in
that
my
too.
sauna. You know,
Yeah.
I've been on the porch in the RV.
Those were my favorite ones where, one of us is going like this the whole time. Yeah, and our listeners, I'm sure, were like,
What is
Oh.
that noise?
what are
The
we
worst one, though. I mean, the worst episode, audio-wise, was the one with Rich, Big Rich, and
doing? Yeah, I remember that.
and they were, and it was kind of cool. It was on video. I didn't know at the time. I'm doing this whole audio, and then we actually went to do the show afterwards, and it was terrible. Oh my God, you couldn't hear me. I was like this. You guys all the time. You guys were all talking fine, and nobody could hear me, and nobody said anything.
Well, and because of some of the software choices we've made and the evolution of the podcast, some of that stuff we didn't really know what we sounded like until after the shows were over,
Right.
and then we'd go back and try to play with the sound and stuff.
Yeah, and it could be a laptop or whatever. I don't know why the audio was so bad on that time, but it was. It was just, I think the problem was it actually, mic wasn't plugged in, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But the funny thing is I actually went through and paid somebody to transcribe that thing because I thought would I go back through and try to redub it. And I'd never done it, but I have the transcription so I can redub it. Maybe I'll just post this transcription so you guys can read along. as it's
See
going.
what Matt's
we'll put it as,
talking about.
we'll put it as captions underneath.
Right.
Closed caption for the hearing impaired.
Or for in my case for just the impaired.
So what was your favorite episode?
All of them.
Right?
You know, I truly enjoy the interview episodes.
Yeah.
And, you know, the random ones we do, you got to remember that the reason we started this is Corey and I would always talk for an hour, hour and a half on the phone while he was driving someplace about what's going on, where he's been. And I'm like, let's turn this thing into a podcast. But we're already spending all this time. Let's just do the same thing, bring it together, record it, and call it a podcast. But I enjoy the interviews because I like pulling strings. Like, how do people do things? You know, I think one of my favorites is Ian Johnson, right? And just learning from him how he does stuff and his story and his backstory, and Scott Radflow. You know, any of these guys we interview, their backstories are always incredible. How did they get in the business? How did they get started?
And for us, it's always been about everybody we have on as a guest. It's a learning experience, and we hope that we pass on a little bit of that for our followers and our listeners and our viewers. I mean, I learn something every time we go to an event. Every person we talk to, every rig that we get on the CTI trailer, you guys all think that I'm just kind of standing around and taking measurements and stuff, but I learn so much from each of you, every build we see. You got to remember, we collect all that data, and then I get to have conversations back here with the engineers and the folks at Metalcloak, and it's a kind of a way we do a lot of R&D. It's, hey, this is what's going on in the industry. So again, everybody out there is helpful in some way, shape, or form.
That's right. I think that's a fun thing about this. We learn so much. I mean, and when doing the job shops, it's like especially these ones that are successful. You know, what is your secret to success? What do you do that has made it? How do you build your rigs? And it's fascinating how every jobber we've interviewed has such a different philosophy.
Very much so.
About what they do or how they're doing or what their shop's purpose is. How they build rigs, and then you got a guy like Ian who just does stuff incredibly differently, and really is a hands-on guy and a hands-on personality. You know, owners of some of the industry guys like Greg at Rugged Radios or Andrew at Milestar, learning things like I had no idea that Greg over at Raceline was part of the team that innovated and created what we consider to be the modern bead lock.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
These guys have been around. They're friends. I never sit down and we don't talk about their history. We talk about present time. We talk about the future or what we recently did. But getting a chance to really dig into their stories and the backgrounds and learn, like, holy crap, you telling me that you like...
Yeah,
you really,
were, this was an innovator.
Yeah. You know, Steve Sasaki creating a whole category of product line.
That's right.
Right?
You know, and I have learned from this last year, and when we started traveling in the beginning of 2020, during all this COVID stuff, is that we'd go into jobbers and have conversations, and not very many people really want to talk to me, but if I bring Jessy in with me, they're much more apt to talk to us. It's really weird. I don't know. I kind of got a complex there for a little while.
You know, well, our number 3 most popular episode also follows that philosophy, and that's Light Bright. Kevin and Brittany. I don't think anybody would be watching Light Bright as much if it wasn't for Brittany, because you know Kevin may shave his chest, but I'm not sure that's why anybody would actually watch that. And speaking of which, it's gonna be interesting because they've got a race coming up.
Yes, they do. KOH is scheduled to happen, and yeah, I think as ModernJeeper and as the media outlet that usually goes down to that race, we're probably going to skip this year, just because of all the circumstances that are going on. But I know we're going to miss it. We've both talked about it, and it's just not something that maybe this year is a place for us to be. We've got a lot going on. We've got a couple of adventures coming up. We've got Death Valley in like 6 weeks.
Guys,
so
there's only a few spots left. If you want to do Death Valley,
You better jump on it.
jump on it.
I
It's
promise
incredible.
you, I promise you, it will change the way you think about going to off-road events. And no, it's not extreme, and we're not going to be climbing up, cliffs and walls and things like that. But from a history perspective and a jeeping and a lifestyle perspective, it is something that has changed my perspective of the entire industry in the last year.
Right. Just going on that last year,
Yeah.
and you've been in this industry and been wheeling for
A long time.
long
and
time,
it
longer
was
than dirt.
Longer than dirt, and it was incredible. I get it, and I didn't get it before, and overlanding and all that kind of stuff. I understood it. Yeah, it's going camping with your Jeep, but going out into a place as historic and has as many places to see, and you know what? We didn't break anything at the end of the day. It's crazy.
Right. Almost ran out of gas, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing.
Oh,
Another
that's story.
adventure.
Yeah, Death Valley is incredible. And when you have somebody like Del Albright,
Absolutely.
who many of you who have been involved in I Resolve the Jeep before have seen Del Albright sitting here, because part of my shtick with the whole thing was giving you a little bit of education about land use and the importance of land use, which I am going to talk a little bit about a current project happening that we need your help on. But Del Albright's mind is just full of just the stories of Death Valley, because he's been going out there all his life.
Talk about a guy who's been wheeling longer than dirt.
Right? I think his rig is older than dirt. But he has a just great amount of knowledge, and it's just wonderful to be going and doing a trip like this where somebody is commentating and telling you history and facts, and you're seeing places where there's a population of 40 people, right? There's a whole documentary recently done on Darwin
Yes.
and the people of Darwin, and there's 40 people that live there
Yeah, and it's
at the edge of the earth, and you wonder
It's
like
crazy.
why.
there's some crazy places out there in Death Valley,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I guess that's why they call it Death Valley.
But it's beautiful too.
Yeah.
There's some beauty, and there's some areas you wouldn't realize that in a single day, the elevation change that we do just driving is incredible.
So what are the requirements for Jeeps that want to go on Death Valley?
Oh, well, if you've got a Jeep and you want to spend 3 nights in it, you're in. As far as you got to be self-sufficient. I mean, you got to be able to sustain yourself, bring fuel and water and food and a place to sleep. Other than that, you're pretty much good to go.
Yeah, we do recommend 35s.
We do.
But there's only a couple of spots we've ever run into where we actually did any sort of, and it was really just like we're on a trail and you got to go down some rocks and you got to, So if you come in on 33s, if you're coming in on even in a stock rig, we'll make it work for you.
Yeah.
There may be a couple things, you're not going to climb that hill. That's fine. Hop in another rig and we'll just go around, because a lot of stuff we do are loops, right?
Right.
Like there's the climb up to the mine.
Right. There's a few little side roads and places to see that you don't necessarily have to take your rig to, or you can jump in with somebody else. But again, and none of that is very extreme.
Right.
Like I say, we're out there. Rick Payway, Ultimate Adventure back in the day, one of his most used comments is, "You wheel for the week, not the day." Death Valley is very similar to that. We're going to be out there for a number of days out in the middle of nowhere. So it's important that we save our rigs and not break stuff apart.
That's right. Yeah, we're there to have fun. Hey, another question. What do you got?
I have a JKU with a 3.5-inch springs from another vendor, but they sag too much. On my overlanding rig, which size springs would you recommend to swap and
And what do
fix
you have?
the issue?
JK?
JKU.
JKU.
And it's a 3.5 inch?
Uh-huh.
Well, the way we rate our springs is based on a fully loaded rig. Now, it's a fully loaded rig, meaning that in the case of our JK, we have our full steel skid plate system, steel front and rear bumpers, steel fenders, steel rockers, steel roll cage, aftermarket roll cage, sport cage system in there. That's a fully loaded rig. That sits at 3.5. If you take all that off, you have a fully stock rig, that sits at 4.5. So many times you will find that others in the industry don't necessarily rate their numbers the same way, or they're sagging. One of the things about our dual rate coil system is that because the actual ride rate is a solid single rate, we're not dealing with multiple rates. And the problem with many coil systems out there that are considered progressive or triple rate, etc., is that you have to go through those other rates before you get to the solid rate. So it wears down quicker. One of the things about ours is people go, well, hey, my top coil is sagging. Well, no, the top coil is actually fully compressed, because on a ride, when you're riding around and you're fully loaded, you're not using that top coil. That top coil is there for articulation when you're actually wheeling out. I recommend you check out our YouTube video that's basically, I think it's Coils 101 or something like that, and it has a great breakdown about coil technology. But that being said, best thing to do is to give our team a call, and they can, based on your rig and your setup, they're happy to talk to you. Anybody in our team will talk to you about what you have and come up with a recommendation. And it could be that you're doing 3.5 fronts and 4.5 rears if you have that much weight. We'll make that work for you, right? But the whole idea is to talk to our tech team. They're here to help you. And I feel like I'm getting into like a, call our tech team now. No, 916-631-8071. We're here to help you. Call now.
You know, that's a good point, though.
Talk louder.
This
Talk
is
louder.
YouTube.
They can't hear you on YouTube?
gotcha. One of
Turn
the
up
things.
the volume.
One of the things that we should, you bring up a good point. You're not in this alone. I mean, the reason that Metalcloak exists and those guys sit downstairs is they're waiting for your phone call. You don't have to make these decisions on your own. You can actually call them and say, this is what I've got going, and I don't know what to do. Use them. Yeah.
So I know right now I'm about to get text messages
Yeah.
saying, our phones are blowing up.
Yeah, right?
The phones are blowing up. Call now. We have operators standing by.
I get that question all the time. Who do I call? Just call.
Just call.
You
Just
guys
Just
are
call.
great.
Yeah. So let's do some more random giveaways, and then we'll actually do another big giveaway.
Okay.
So I have, let's do this orange hat. This is like, so Corey has a yellow hat, and you've seen this, and we did this orange hat specifically for one of our Modern Jeeper Adventure crew. You've seen him out there. What's their trail nuts?
Trail nut.
Trail nut.
Yep. Yep.
And so we did this. Now, we might actually come out with this line if you guys like it, but orange hat, this is the last one of the group that I made, so I'm going to give this out. Corey, why don't you choose somebody?
How about Justin Strickland?
Justin Strickland, send out your message, send us the information by the close of business today, and you get the orange hat. Hopefully you like orange. If you don't like orange, well, honestly, if you don't like orange,
We have
we have
Everybody-
other
Everybody
stuff.
tell them we need purple. Purple with yellow.
Yeah, I looked. They don't make a hat
Or
like
yellow
this
with
with
purple.
They make it. I could do yellow with purple.
Everybody wants
Oh,
a
boy.
yellow with
Here
purple.
we go.
Here we go. Custom hats. Just reach out right now. Only $55 each.
That's right. That's right.
So orange hat. Let's do another.
What else you got down there?
I got another stuff down there. Well, no, I'm going to hold off on the hoodie.
Okay.
But we'll hold off on these things. Actually, you know what? Let's give this one away.
Okay.
So this is a.
Hey.
Now, you probably are getting a little bit of seeing it, but we doled it out so you could see it. This is a steel Metalcloak, gold zinced, large hex. What's that about? 14 inches long, 15 inches wide.
Yeah.
It's wall art. That's all it is wall art. Now, I actually got one of these, and I drilled a hole in the center, and I made myself a clock for my kid's bedroom.
There you
So you can
go.
do whatever you want with this thing, but it's wall art.
Yeah, but
Wait.
if you put it in front of my shirt, that they maybe can see it.
There you go.
Well, they can see it fine.
Can you see it fine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can see
yeah.
it.
They sprayed doling on
It's
it.
kind of.
I tried to have them
holographic-ish,
spray
but
dolly
it
on my
works.
dole on my head to just kind of dole out my head, but they sprayed Doller on it. It actually works out pretty good. But yeah, go ahead and let's see. How do we want to do this one? You want to YouTube or
Let's go YouTube.
YouTube? Okay. Random YouTube comment.
Jennifer Long.
Jennifer Long. Fantastic. Jennifer Long, reach out to us, and you've won this. There's only like a dozen of these were made, so this is one of a dozen, limited
I
edition.
might take one home.
If you want, I could sign it for you too. So just
We can all sign it for you.
There you go.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. We can all sign it. We can
No one-
all sign it for you, right? And sign it for you. One of our shops reached out and they wanted. In fact, it was Dave Thompson over at Jeep Doctor, and he reached out and he wanted calendars from us, but he wanted us to sign them all. So we gave him some calendars. That we
Oh,
signed.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it was
cool.
It was kind of cool.
Good deal.
Yeah, maybe if they haven't shipped out yet, you could sign your page. That's what we should do, like a few, because Golden Spike's in there.
Yeah.
2-3 times.
Yeah.
Actually, you're in there now more because you just bought that Jeremy's Gladiator.
Oh,
so-
right.
Right. He's in
Jeremy's
it
glad-
3 times
yeah.
now.
And then I'm in there at the very end, and Will's in there. So yeah, this is cool. So get one of those out, and we'll do some other stuff. Now, it's almost time to do our next giveaway at 1:45. That'll be our second place giveaway.
That's a good timing, I think.
I think so. By the way, the fourth most popular episode, as we just mentioned, Jeep Doctor.
Oh,
Episode number 68 with Jeep Doctor Dave Thompson, 737 views.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that some of the, I guess our YouTube, since we started doing the YouTube videos, they're fairly new. We haven't done very
Right.
many of those,
Right.
6 or 7. And by the way, that's all this guy here late at night. Before we used to kind of share some of the production when we weren't doing the video side, but Matson came up with this really cool framework, and it just works. And
I can't teach him how to do it, so we're
I don't
kinda
want to
screwed.
learn, because then I'll have to do it.
And
so.
and the production team here at Metalcloak is far too busy to spend any time doing work on like YouTube, for us.
Right.
Modern
Yeah, they're
Jeeper stuff.
too busy creating.
We're looking down
We're
right
getting
now
eyeballed.
because we're getting eyeballed by our executive producer. What do you got?
Hey guys, there's a lot of questions coming up. There are technical questions. There's recommendations coming up on the Facebook and on the YouTube. I'm wondering if I know you guys can't answer every one of these questions. Are the sales guys, the techs, are they going to go back through this later and see if they can get back in touch with these people, or how are those questions going to get answered?
That's actually a great point. So a lot of those tech questions we can have the sales guys go
Yeah.
back through and do more comments.
Yeah.
We're doing what we can here, but we have a limited amount of time now. There will be a certain point where we'll just focus on questions.
Yeah,
Right.
As soon
absolutely.
as we do in between this giveaway, a few more of the color commentary you want to talk about, and then we'll get into actual focus on questions. I actually appreciate it. Like I was
Yeah.
expecting,
Yeah.
like
There's
Judge, a
quite a few, but
a lot of fun stuff just
Yeah.
about Modern Jeeper, and that whole thing. But the amount of tells me we need to do more of these kind of events.
Well, and I think initially our podcasts were going to be much more technical than they were random episodes. But sometimes that's hard to put together too, because since we don't do those live, we don't necessarily get to hear from you guys on exactly what your questions are. So please reach out to us, whether it's through email, through YouTube, through the forums on Modern Jeeper, and ask those questions, and we'll do our best to try to get back to those, even during a podcast, and it may be the following week.
Yeah, maybe, but we'll get back to you. We really appreciate it. Reach out to us.
Yes.
We'll do what we can to answer those questions. And those are also great because it helps us understand. Maybe we try to make our website incredibly educational. And the team up here that does all our videos are also the ones that do the website, do the web product pages and everything there. And we use that feedback to say, how can we make the page better? Because I don't know about you, but I think we have some of the most detailed information in the
Yes.
industry about our products.
And when we're out doing the CTI tour and at events, I always tell folks, these guys make what I do even possible, because the website is there's so much information there, and Metalcloak really does believe in the education side first. People always ask, how come you're not trying to sell me parts and that kind of thing? Because we really believe that you're going to educate yourself, and an informed consumer is a better consumer, a better
Absolutely.
Jeeper.
Well, that's what I say. We always say we have the smartest customers in the industry because
That's
they're
right.
the ones that take the time to do the research and don't just get sold on hype.
That's right.
And we're
Yeah.
also getting requests for Will to be on.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Will?
Will?
Well,
Huh? Yeah.
Well,
but he sits. By the way, you haven't seen him? He'd be like here.
you're right. And no.
That's why he's not on here, because he's bigger than I am, and I can't have that.
Well, none of us would get to talk.
No.
Oh, I mean, well, I
You know,
mean,
Okay, so here's the deal. Back in the day, when we first started Metalcloak Live, in fact, if you go back into the archives of Metalcloak's video archive, I believe it's there. The original Metalcloak Live was a monthly show before it became just an annual show. It was a monthly show. I had this whole little setup, and it was just me in front of a Jeep with some guest. And one year, it was like I had John Goodby at NorCal Rock Racing. I even had Dave Cole a couple times. What was that?
I got a thanks.
Will
Thanks from
says
Will.
thanks.
Oh, thanks for Will.
Well, I want to say something every once in a while and sound like I know what I'm talking about. And Will's just going to tell me, no, that's not exactly how it goes.
But there is an episode where it was Will and I, and actually it was about the show. Kind of funny. It was Metalcloak Live, but two guys talking about Jeeps and beer, because I always I had a case there with beer, and I remember I had a shanty one year, like a little shanty beer. I didn't really know what a shanty was, but that's all I could buy. Literally, Dave Cole was showing up. I had nothing. I ran down to the local store to try to find some beer and get it back in time, get it cold in time for us to crack it open. All I could find were some shanties. Not really a beer. Not something Dave Cole liked. Dave Cole, of course, with Ultra 4
Hammer
and
King
King of the Hammers.
Productions, yeah.
Though we did have Pacifica one time, and that is his favorite beer. If you want to buy him off, a little Pacifica. But yeah, we used to just do that, and that's in 1 month it was Will.
Well, you know, it's cool because when we travel around the country, I just tell people to call Will because
Yes.
I know that he's kind of he's a very busy guy down there and kind of the lead of the sales team down there. But any of the guys, Eric, John, they can all answer your questions. Again, when I have a question, I typically call and ask for Will because I know I'm going to get an answer.
You're getting an answer if you can get a hold of him.
Yes, right. Yes.
We're
So
actually it's got
events.
Events.
Everybody wants to know
what events?
what
So now
events
that
are
we-
coming to.
Now we got to do events.
Now we have the Modern Jeeper calendar available, which was the best dates that we could get at the time when it went to print, and I think they're
Yes.
all pretty much
Pretty accurate, yeah.
pretty accurate.
There's
pretty
one.
solid.
There's one major event not listed in here because they still won't provide the information because it's still not available on their website. Off-Road Expo.
Oh,
Off-Road
interesting.
Expo still says, like on there, even on the website, and when they're sending us information about registering, I'm presuming it's going to be the first weekend, but they must not have secured anything because there's no date there. But yes, lots and lots and lots of events put
So-
in here. Jessy put together all the event listings, some great photos here that Corey provided, some great sponsors photos like Warren, one of our big sponsors and supporters this year.
So events-wise, I mean, we're gonna go to all the same big events that we typically go to year after year, and those include, Easter Jeep Safari, Jeep Beach Week, Bantam, Mayday Miami this year down in Miami with our friends with Shade Brigade, Spiderweb
I
Shade.
hope that actually happens this year.
It's on the calendar, so it's got
It's official.
That's right.
It's in the calendar.
Right.
And of course, there's a lot of small events that we end up hitting throughout the year that
We're going to try.
we're going to do our best like we do every year. Last year we pulled that trailer around to 38,000 miles.
38,000
So
miles.
in
And that
a
was in a
time when it was shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the world was shut down, and we still did 38,000 miles
Yeah.
on that truck.
Yeah, a lot of jobber stops and small events. And you know what? We get a lot more, not taking away anything from the large events, but we get a lot out of the small events, and we like seeing our fellow Jeepers out on the road.
And we do,
so-
and like we said, I will be more persistent on doing it on the Metalcloak website. I know not everybody is on the Owners Club, so just look for those. I'll try and be better about putting those and posting them up. As you know, last year was kind of touch and go, and
It's hard.
are we going? Are we
hard.
not going? So
Right.
I tried to make an effort at the beginning of the year, but it was kind of like flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah, how
to
many
get out.
events did we, red mark through and go, oh, that's not happening,
Yeah.
or that changed dates, and then we can't get there. So
Right.
So we want to come see you. We want to come to all the events as best as we can. But you just remember we're all
yeah,
over the
back and
place.
forth.
And pay attention because a lot of the stuff we'll be doing will be to shops as well,
Right.
and which we love. And we love the small events. I mean, the big events are good, but honestly, there's a lot more fun in doing the small events. So pay attention to the small events that may be near you, and we might be there. And if you have an event you really, really think the CTI trailer should be out, reach out. Corey at Metalcloak.com. Reach out. And if it fits within the schedule, it might just work for us.
Absolutely.
Job shops around you, that sort of thing. Like for instance, I'm kind of torn right now because one of the first events will actually be TDS. Now, TDS went virtual this year. They have a little 4,000 square foot location near the Jack in the Box out there in Salton Sea that they're doing a small little vendor support thing and selling swag and all that. And we may or may not have the CTI trailer down there. We're kind of playing with it to see if we can bring it down there and have it for you all. But just because of the county they're in and the level of, well, I guess the level of restrictions within that county still, they can't do a full-on Tierra del Sol event. And with all the vendors and all the activity that they were doing last year and all the runs. So they're doing a virtual event. Which means they're going to be there, but there's other stuff happening, and there's probably going to be people wheeling all over in that area because you just can't keep them out. But we don't know if we'll have the CTI trailer there or not. So you just have to pay attention, watch to us on Facebook, Watch for us on both Modern Jeeper and on Metalcloak on Facebook and on Instagram as well. And we try to keep active and post that. Plus, there's the CTI account on Instagram.
Yes.
That's right.
And we'll try to make sure that if you haven't followed that, follow that CTI account, because not only is it some of the great scores we see, well, pretty much all the scores we see from the event, but more and more we'll put in there what's happening, where we're going, where we've been, all that kind of stuff, and even schedules. Hey, you know what time it is? It's time.
Let's do.
It's time
let's
to
do
give
it.
away our second place. It's the second place for anybody who has their number 2 listed. So, randomizer is on, and we are hitting the number, and boom, 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 195. 195. It's green, so you probably can't see anything. 195.
So that's going to be about, I'm guessing, page 10.
Page 10.
Page 10.
195.
Number 195. Number 2. This is going to go to Jared Lino. Lino. Congratulations, Jared. Overland Rocker and Flip Step Kit, a pair for a 2-door JK.
All right. Overland Rocker and Flip Step Kit, pair for a 2-door JK. Congratulations, Jared. So reach out to us. Send us a message. You have all the different methods of trying to reach out to us. Email me directly, matson@metalcloak.com, or you can send us a message, but you have to do it today, okay?
Has to be today.
Jared Lito, and we'll get that set up for you. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Cool. Okay, so that was number 2. Congratulations again. We will have number 1 coming up here towards the end of the show, which is probably going to be in another half hour or so. So don't go away.
Is this like a commercial break?
Yes.
Huh.
So
Should we all pause?
Pause, a cigarette,
So-
have a drink. Where's my coffee?
Let's answer a
We need
question.
to make it.
Got a question?
Got a question?
Gladiator racks.
Ooh, so ARS Gladiator Rex. So yes, and yes. There are a few different ones. Obviously, the JL front hoop fits on the JT front as well. So now we're working on some concepts on the rear. And part of that is one that I just showed Corey a little bit earlier.
I just saw it, and we might even go shoot pictures of it tomorrow.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's pretty cool. So it's a rack for the back. We're not going to talk about what it is or the features of it just yet, because it's just prototyped, but it's about to be put onto my Gladiator for prototyping, and it's pretty cool. We love the direction that we're taking this brand, because there was some great things with Cargo Master Safari.
Yes.
Mainly just the size, these 2-inch tubes and the clamping systems they were using, and just that overall system, right, for the JK was fantastic. It didn't move. The system we created for the JL, man, it's got to be the strongest rack in the industry.
Well, and what's nice about it is we've seen all these other rack systems where they have some kind of a little bumper that touches the body, and it ends up rubbing a spot
Damages
in
the
your
body.
paint, and you can actually grab the rack and make it hit the body of your Jeep and stuff. That's just not the case. I mean,
no.
the ARS stuff, you guys have done a phenomenal job in creating something that is going to be super, super strong, and it's going to work.
Well, we had to, because one of the signature parts of the KMS line was the catwalk, right? We had the catwalk. And nobody else could really do that, because nobody else had the strength to do that, right? For a 250-pound man to be able to walk on this little
On the front of your
hood
Yeah.
and not have it damage anything. And with the JL, had we done what others had done, we couldn't put a catwalk there.
Is that the front of the hood or is that the rear of the hood?
That's the cowl.
It's the cowl.
It's not even the rear of the hood, it's
Right.
the cowl.
Yeah, and it would be the rear, not the front. I think I said the front.
Did I? Yeah, in front of the front of your Jeep, the rear of the hood, over the cowl. Over the cowl we go. So,
Anyway,
Anyway.
technical things. Leave it to a technical guy to think about technical things. So, what do you got? Another question?
Do the overlined and overland systems share any of the same nutsert holes, or do I need to drill more when I replace those from one or the other?
I'm assuming
rocker.
overland or over.
The overline or the
Overland.
overland systems?
So, well, in the rear, absolutely not, because the rear overline is a full-on exoskin. So, but we do have guys doing overland rears, overland fronts, because they want that upper clearance in the front. I would believe that yes, although there's actually no nutserts in the front install of the overland or overline. It does use the same holes for it. It's just there's more reinforcement because the overline front comes with an additional bracket at the front grille for more strength. But they share the same mounting holes. So when it comes to nut certs on the rear, yeah, the overland is just within the pocket that a stock fender goes, and the overline uses the exoskin, which has a bunch of rib nuts, and it can be a scary thing to drill that in the first time, and you've got to do it right and follow our video. One of our most popular videos that Metalcloak has online is how to install a nut cert.
Yep. I mean, it's
common. Not
it's
as
a
many
very
people know it.
It's a very common thing, and even when I put the skins on the back of the LJ, nut certs everybody freaks out about them. But if you do them right and you take your time, they're super strong, and they're really the only way to get to some spots.
Yeah.
And I consider all that kind of stuff like those are speed holes. So you're just making your rig lighter if you have to drill new holes in it.
Oh, does that add horsepower too?
Sometimes if
Stickers
it's chrome, stickers do.
Stickers.
Stickers, the right stickers.
Yes.
I've seen some stickers actually slow me down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
if they flap at all, if they start to fray,
Yeah,
it's bad.
yeah. Or just people stand in front of you.
So, are we going to make JK adventure rack systems for the JK, the 2-door, not 4-door?
What?
JK.
JKARS stuff.
We have a 2-door
That's
full-on
what
rack.
we can next.
Oh, yeah. We
Excited?
have a 2-door adventure rack system for the JK. We have a 4-door adventure rack system for the JK. Those are our first initial products. We also have those other systems, but like the stealth system that I had on my 4-door, which I no longer own. That's now owned by one of our other guys around here. But that one had I love that system. It went through your hardtop. Which, interestingly enough, if you notice online, we took that same rack that goes through your hardtop, and we actually have it set up where you can put it on there without your hardtop. So now you can actually have a rack on your rig connected to your roll cage with your hardtop off, or your top off, your soft top off, and still have a rack up top if you wanted to overland with your top and doors off. Which I don't know if anybody else has a system like that works the way it does. So
No.
it's very strong because it uses almost another 2-inch tube in the back that bolts on.
Bolts onto it.
But we do have the 2-door, the 4-door racks for the JL, 2-door, 4-doors for the JK. We do not have any of the old TJ stuff. Like none of that got carried over from KMS. Many of the things right now are on clearance because there's lots of new product. There's lots of products that we're not going to make again because we have a new evolution happening. And something I was going to say earlier is we're evolving the product line, going to where it probably would have gone if Cargo Master was still investing in R&D. But we have a lot of investment in R&D to create better products and to improve those to be more like what you see out there in the industry. Stronger, better, more lightweight, and able to take out the abuse. Because a lot of our guys, we have to recognize that we're not just dealing with an overlanding only crowd.
Right.
We're dealing with a crowd that is many of your customers out there, rock crawlers and overlanders, hardcore. You push your Jeeps to the max. You have to have a rack to match that.
It's always a challenge when we get asked about, when are you guys going to make XJ stuff for the Cherokees, and that's such a hard, typically what comes up is, well, you paid $500 for your XJ, are you going to spend $2,000 on a suspension system for it? Yeah, maybe not. But it's how many of those vehicles are still out there and people willing to buy parts for them? And yeah, there's a lot, but it's very, very specific stuff. As a manufacturer, you just can't make 1, 2 kits, 3 kits. It's not what that's about. We could never. It'd be so expensive that they wouldn't be able to buy it. So
Yep. Anything's possible.
right?
Right amount of
So
money.
what are we giving away?
Oh, well, thanks, Sarah. She's pushing it. We have more
Right.
stuff to give away. I've got. This is not even on our website yet. This was made for our staff, and
I
then
like
we decided.
those. They're
And then we
nice.
decided to actually put them on the website. So they're going to be on the website soon. This is our new hoodie, right?
I don't even have one of those.
We call it the Cloaked Republic hoodie, but big American flag on the back, right? Metalcloak Jeep, American flag, Metalcloak logo on the front. On one sleeve it says Metalcloak, on the other sleeve it has the American flag, and it says #Cloaked Republic. So we have this. Again, it's going to be on the site soon. So let's give away one of these.
Where do we want to go? You want to go to YouTube?
Yep, I'm on YouTube. How about Victor Hallett?
Victor Hallett, congratulations. You get yourself a hoodie. Let's do another one. Make sure just, again, reach out to us. Let's do another one.
Let's do, how about Stephanie Neff?
Stephanie Neff, fantastic. And since we're following a trend, that was YouTube, Facebook. Why don't we do one here?
Okay, we'll go. Let's
We got
go.
3 of these. Stephanie Neff, reach out to us.
How about Bruce Sinclair?
Bruce Sinclair, okay. Let us know what size you are. We'll get these shipped out to you. And all of this is being taken notes by John, one of our team members, is making a little Word document so he can actually track all this stuff of what we're giving away.
And go, who was that? Who'd
Who
you
was
get
that?
something?
What was that? What was that?
Just call up and say, yeah, I think I won something.
Yeah, somebody told me I won something. What's your name? No, sorry, son. Sorry, son. But yeah, you have to reach out to us today if you want to get those sent out to you. Thank you. All right. Another question for us.
What's your bucket list trail?
Ooh, that's funny because I actually had on my notes for our show talking about resolution. We already talked a little bit about our solutions, but what trail do we really? If you could have hit any trail this year, what would it be, Corey?
Wow. You know, one of the places that I didn't get to spend a lot of time, and I've not gotten to spend a lot of time I've been to, was Windrock. That park is so enormous. I'd love to go back there and spend a few days. And I know even a few days you wouldn't be able to cover the whole thing.
Not when it's muddy.
Yeah, not when it's muddy. It's got to be dry. But that park is giant, and I mean, you know, there's a lot of places we may be putting together a Georgia trip still this year. Talked to our buddy Ricky at Jeepers Den the other day, and that's a place that I've not really wheeled a whole bunch, and it would be more of an overlanding trip. But yeah, bucket list, probably spend some more time at Windrock.
That's a tough one for me because we have our lists of trails, right? All through California, there's trails I haven't been on. I am definitely going to do Colorado ModernJeeper Adventure this year because this guy has trails like 5 minutes from his backyard.
Oh yeah,
It's pretty
Right?
cool.
It's one thing being an hour and a half from the Rubicon, right? That's nice. When you have trails 5 minutes from his backyard that he go on, I just want to hang out with him with a week and just get up in the morning and go, let's go wheel.
you know, the San Juan Mountains of Colorado. There's not a whole lot of real technical and challenging and extreme stuff, but the scenery is
It's just scary.
it's not scary.
It's scary.
So yeah,
But it's fun.
the whole reason for ModernJeeper Adventures and the reason that I was like pushing some of the stuff, it was like places that we want to go.
Right.
Tillamook was a place I wanted to go. I was being selfish about it. Let's go do it. It may not be, you know, great. It turns out to be, I think it's almost sold out.
Yeah.
And we're months away from it. And it's already almost sold out because it's just an amazing place. You know, going and doing the Colorado one, going and doing Georgia. 3 parks in 3 days that we tried to do before that we didn't do. The Rubicon Trail. I've done that a bunch of times, but it's still fun to do, especially with a small group of people.
Absolutely.
These are all great adventures to be able to do it. So my bucket list hopefully gets translated as we grow the adventures into doing more and more places. How about you, Jesse?
Race KOH.
Nice.
Oh, is that really a trail? I
Yes,
guess.
that's
It
a lot
really
of trails.
is.
It's a lot of trails.
That's a lot of trails.
That's like all of Johnson Valley.
that's
Right.
in one day,
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
Fine. Just keep going.
So if you're out there and you have a major company that wants to sponsor a racer, we are right here, or even a racer who needs a co-driver. If you want to go out and do it, you need a co-dog. Jessie wants to do it. That's her big dream, and she is ready and waiting. So call us, 916-631-8071. Operators are standing by.
What else you got? How about a technical question?
Haven't really seen a whole lot of technical questions. Just some random questions about spacing on wheels, what lift kit, what to decide between a 2.5 or a 3.5.
Right?
Call the sales guys. They will take care of
Pins.
you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So many things depend.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that go along with those where we can't just say, yeah, we saw your question and we think you should get the 3.5-inch game changer.
Yeah.
There are actually some Metalcloak minutes out there. Go and search Metalcloak minute, and in some cases we talk about a lot of our frequently asked questions, like how to choose backspacing or how to choose lift size, that sort of thing. So it's 60 seconds of commentary, but maybe it gives you a little bit of a direction too.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of great, and even our friends at Terraflex have done some great educational videos.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And if you can get beyond Dennis's mustache,
we were just out with those guys at Winter 4x4, and he showed up with a beautifully built LJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job. So anyway, shout out to our friends up there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
Good.
where did the Metalcloak name come from?
That's a great question, and that's part of our history. We're actually thinking about putting together a video of the history of this company, just to, one, for our employees, because as we hire new people, they don't really know what they're getting involved with, right? What they're getting themselves into. So Metalcloak, in January 5th, 2009, we opened our doors. The company, we acquired a company late 2008. The company had been closed for a year, and the company's name was Rev 111. Some of you know the history, some of you recognize that name. And it's even deeper than that, in that their original company was called Rev 1. Rev, for engineers, know that, but for the others and laymen may not know, Rev represents the revision of a product, especially when you're doing a design product. You might have Rev 1, Rev 2, Rev 3, whatever, as you have Rev changes or revision changes to the product. So Rev 1 was their company name, a couple of engineers who decided to start building stuff. In 2003, they created the very first full replacement fender for CJs. You unbolt the fender, you bolt on their system. And they evolved that over time to the point that they had a full system they wanted to create for the TJ. A friend came along who actually was very involved in the Lotus industry, and he had a website selling Lotus products and parts. His company was called Sector 111. Rev 1 combined with investment from the guy at Sector 111 to become Rev 111. So that became that company name. The system they created, which was front arched fenders, they designed the arched fenders that had that most clearance, that highline clearance without having to cut your hood. They had a 6-position flip step system for the TJ. This was all for the TJ and the LJ. And they had a rear bolt-on fenders, and they're the ones that came up with the concept of removable fenders. They're the ones that came up with the concept of having that.
If anybody remembers my 02 TJ Spike, initially back in the day, it had Rev 111 stuff on it, which is how I actually became in contact with these guys.
Right. Corey reached out to us, and they wanted some other stuff, but it was all Rev 111. Now, the name of their system, which was originally designed to be a full wrap-around system, meaning the front bumper actually connected to the fenders, actually connected to the rockers. And if you notice, our rockers integrate with the rear fenders to a rear bumper system, was called the Metalcloak. It was a cloak of metal around your rig. So when we opened our doors, and we weren't doing suspension or anything, January 5th, we opened the doors, we started redesigning the product line to be stronger, better, more efficient for manufacturing. And that's when we created the ball lock joint that's the signature look of the Metalcloak fenders. We decided to call the company Metalcloak. Our corporate name is Armored Works, but we decided let's just use the term Metalcloak and just call it that, because that's what we were doing. We were building fenders and body armor and all that. So that's where Metalcloak came from. Over time, we've obviously expanded into suspension and all kinds of other stuff. And we've debated about it, like, well, let's create a brand name for the suspension. Everybody just likes Metalcloak, so we just stick with Metalcloak and keep it going.
It's it's an interesting evolution if you go back and you look through the changes in product line and how it's evolved. I mean, the original Rev 111 stuff was really, I liked it because it was unique, and it's no different than what Metalcloak still does today. They spent a lot of time in the engineering aspects of it, and Rev 111, I think, struggled with really being able to produce it cost effectively. Like, they did a lot of tube coping, and there was actually pins that held the removable fenders on, rather than the balls that you see today on the Metalcloak products. But no, uniqueness-wise and functionality, I was in, and I think it was Ultimate Adventure in 2011 when Metalcloak started to really they changed the look of the way the Rev 111 stuff looked, and I'm like, Matson contacted me and says, hey, we need to get some of our newer stuff on your rig before you go out on the trail. And that's what started our relationship.
Yeah, we just replaced everything from the legacy products to what was current production, and went from there. But even then, you are famous. You and Spike are famous on one of Rick Russell's videos, going up
Infamous.
in the old Rick Russell Sidekick Off Road. If you don't know, he's got some amazing videos about most of the major trails in the country. All of those available on DVD. If you know what a DVD player is, you still have one of those.
Rick Russell Moab episode number 20.
Episode number 20.
That DVD has Spike on the actual cover of the DVD.
With the Rev 111 stuff.
With Rev 111 stuff. And it's funny to me to think about it now, but how it evolves in our cycle of life. Now, the Modern Jeeper calendar is what was left of Rick Russell and his legacy with that calendar. We bought that, Metalcloak bought that, and we took it over and,
Yeah, that was his.
That's
that originally
weird.
was right. That was Sidekick Off Road event calendar, and only last year did we actually change the name to the Modern Jeeper calendar.
right.
But it still was Rick Russell's Sidekick Off Road calendar. He was the one that had the idea of, by himself putting together that whole thing. It was a lot of work. Yeah, and so it was. But the point being that body armor. Even that original body armor was still strong enough to handle you flopping your side and having damage.
Pritchett Canyon, first time I'd ever run Pritchett, put Spike on its side and was happened to be there with Rick Russell's crew and
All on film.
and captured the whole thing. And
Corey had more hair too.
I had a boss a long time ago, and her mantra was live a clean life. Well, and that's very true, because you never know how relationships will go throughout your life. So.
Oh, I didn't think you were going to go there. I thought you said something else.
So the
Flopping your
age-old
rig.
question:
Uh-oh.
to sway bar or not to sway bar,
Oh, boy.
and anti-rock versus disconnects.
Okay, so I'm going to focus on JK as the answer because the JL is a different beast. And I would say there is actually not enough real-world testing done on the JL to make a determination on it. I will say that the guys over at Rock Jock, I think, did a better job overall with their JL anti-rocks than they did with the JK. And this is only because I'm going to say this. We know, and Corey knows, that there has been better scores, that you actually get a lower score on your JK running the anti-rocks front and rear. Disconnecting your front is going to get you more flex, just the way it is. And the rear is just a matter of how it binds up the rear of the JK.
Right.
We have many customers who have, over the years, taken their sway bar off.
0.
We do not recommend, we can't recommend that. This is, there's things, and I got an email once. My stomach is churning a little bit here. I think I'm hungry. They went and had lunch. I thought, I don't need to have lunch, and now it's like, I'm getting hungry. There was an email I got once from a customer, and it starts out with, so, as part of my build and doing this, I was driving on the freeway. I had removed my rear sway bar. I'm expecting this email, like driving out, to be like one of these bad ones of, well, you can just imagine where it can go from there. On the freeway, had to swerve. It went the exact opposite. It was, I had to swerve suddenly out of the way, and the rig performed flawlessly. The suspension system performed flawlessly. And I'll say, and Corey, I'm sure, has a lot to add to this. I will say a lot of it has to do with the self-centering technology that we have in the Duraflex joint. Everybody talks about the Duraflex joint's flex capabilities, about its vibration dampening capabilities, about how it reacts when you're driving down the road, that it softens vibrations, but it also self-centers. And because it's on both ends of the arms are always fighting to be back in alignment, have proper geometry. They're always working to be back in that position. Essentially, one of the things that a sway bar is also doing for you. So there's some give and take there. We never recommend anybody actually do it, but you can test it. Take yours off, drive down the road, and if you like how it feels, fantastic. If you don't, put it back on. Not a big deal.
Guys, this is such a technical discussion, and I'd be happy to to go in depth and talk with somebody at an event, come over to the trailer. It is an open discussion because there's a lot of different perspectives on what we think of a sway bar. At the end of the day, my conversation always goes something like this. Remember that is just a torsion bar. Its goal in life is to keep that axle square to the body. That's all it's there for, to keep the axle square to the body. So whether you're running one on the front or on the rear, and if you're running one on the front and the rear, those are constantly fighting each other. It's the reason that you have so much stability on the highway. Off the trail, think about it this way. If we're off the trail and we want to drive into a hole or a crack or whatever that obstacle is going to be, if the front is disconnected, the front's out there doing this, but the cab of the Jeep is actually very stable. It's square because it's over the rear axle. So if there's a sway bar on the rear, the cab of the Jeep, where you're sitting as a driver, is going to stay square to that rear axle. That rear axle hasn't come to the obstacle yet. The front will fall into a hole. You won't necessarily feel as much of that twist as you go into that hole. Now that's the natural way and what feels good when we're driving off-road. We want the front to do this. We get up there. We want to have the front work, come out of the hole. We want to sit in the obstacle and then drive out of it. If the front sway bar is connected, when you get to that hole, the front's going to dive into that hole because, again, the sway bar's job is to keep the body square to that axle. If the axle in the front goes like this, the body of the Jeep's going to go that way. Again, it's not a natural feeling, and it doesn't feel good when we're going up to an obstacle and we drive into it and we then drive out of it, and the Jeep just acts really funny. Now, like Matson said, we get a lot more flex. We get a lot more flex on the CTI trailer. You'll get a better score with no sway bars on there at all. But that doesn't necessarily command how the Jeep performs off-road. There's a whole lot of other factors go into it. So I guess before we get too technical, I'm going to kind of leave it at that and just give you something to think about. Curry used to make 3 versions of their sway bar. They made a light, a medium, and a heavy torsion bar. Just the bar, not the arms. It has nothing to do with it. At the end of the day, those arms rotate independently of each other, and that's what that torsion bar is doing. So a light bar, more flex, heavy bar, less flex. Running a rear sway bar on a pickup truck used to be very standard because pickup trucks typically were towing and that kind of thing. So a sway bar in the rear was very important. Otherwise, that pickup truck would be governed by the weight it was hauling or towing, and it was uncomfortable. So you could buy a Hellwig aftermarket sway bars. That was a popular thing to do. Again, a lot of different opinions. Sway bars are very complicated. Your rig, suspension-wise, and what joints you run, what springs you run, what shocks you run, all make a difference as to whether or not you can completely get rid of the sway bar, and it may feel great, or you get rid of the sway bar and you may lose your Jeep off the side of the road.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, little things like that.
Little things.
So, I'm a first-time Jeeper. What do you recommend is my first upgrade?
Ooh.
Sway bar disconnects. If you have done nothing, if you don't have a Rubicon and you've never disconnected your front sway bar, I guarantee it'll make a huge difference off-road.
Mm-hmm. Matson?
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends what you're trying to do. And that's
Exactly.
ultimately my answer is, and that's, you give my guys a call and you say, what are you planning on? We always ask the question, like somebody might want to order the 3.5-inch Game Changer 6-pack edition, go full bore. We ask them questions. What are you trying to do? What's your build? How are you actually planning on doing your build? What are you going to do with your rig? That's going to dictate what you should do. In some cases, I might say get aftermarket fenders first because you can still keep a low center of gravity. You've got a whole family, and you're just going to put bigger tires on it. You may not need a lift kit. Other times, it's going to put a little bit of lift because you want to have those big tires on it, right? You may not need the big tires, but that's what you want. You want to have those up there. You want it to look beefy. You want to have it lifted, so you'll do that. Sometimes people want to change bumpers out because they just don't like the look of the plastic bumpers, depending on what rig you have. So ultimately, it comes down to what your design is for your build. And there's no judgment here as to what you do with your rig, right? The whole reason of Modern Jeeper and what the Modern Jeeper philosophy is that everybody can have a Jeep, and everybody has their own style, and everybody has their own calling as to what they're going to do with it.
It could be lights.
It could be.
You just may drive in the dark all the time. Maybe you need to upgrade your lights.
It could be seat covers.
It could be a way to hold your cell phone securely.
So you know what? You're funny you say that because you guys have we talked about one of the episodes, the full-on system you have, right? So I was looking through my garage the other day. I found this one. I don't even remember what it was called. It was advertised on one of these infomercials, right? It has a section, and it has the little green pad that sticks to the back of your phone. It was sitting in a box in my garage. I'm like, I'm gonna throw that on my Gladiator. I just put it up there, put my phone on it.
Works.
It works. It's been sitting there for like 5 years. It works. Just stuck my phone to it. Now, would it handle my driving off road? Absolutely not. I mean, it's not going to handle me going 60 miles an hour down.
I can barely hold his phone in the passenger seat and handle it. So,
but driving around town, it's like stuck to the back of this thing. I'm like, dude, I'm cool now. My phone's up there. I'm not just trying to reach down and do this little thing. I can be like, oh yeah, I'm driving.
Hey, don't text while you're driving.
Never.
What?
As we put in, an iPad like this in your middle of your console in a Tesla,
Right.
but don't text and drive.
Well, what's funny is asking Siri, hey Siri, can you tell me about X, Y, and Z? I'm sorry, I can't show that to you while you're driving. Like, are you judging me?
And Siri just was trying to answer your
Yeah.
question when you said that. Yeah.
Are you judging me? Are you judging me, Siri? Just tell me. I just want to listen to you. You don't have to you don't have to show me anything.
You should ask.
Okay, let's give away something. I want to give
let's
away, because we're almost I want to give away our jacket.
Nice new coat.
These are so nice.
This is our jacket. This is a 2-layer jacket. So it has,
See?
Is there something else I can
See?
help with?
Yeah.
Quit saying the name. Go away, Siri.
great. So you can mute everything else, but you can't mute her.
I know.
So this is a 2-layer jacket. It actually is a 3-purpose. You can take the hoodie off, take the little hoodie off completely. Inside is a nice, and this is a blue, and Corey's opening it up there, but inside is a nice, which you can see the backside here. The actual liner is, I can actually unzip it right here. The liner is also embroidered. So it has the old school Metalcloak embroidery on the inside of the liner. It has the Metalcloak, the cool new Metalcloak embroidery, which has the American flag right there on the front. Available in all different sizes, even up to XXX, I believe. And this is probably going to be on our website for like $110.
It's a nice coat.
We're giving away one of these.
Yeah.
So let's, what?
Everybody's blowing it up. It's like I can't even read fast enough.
So
Everybody wants a coat, Matson.
everyone, wow, this will be popular. That's great. Fantastic. Order more, guys.
Right?
Oh my
Alright.
goodness.
No, just popping
feed
in,
is
just
just-
popping in. Okay, you just have to randomly choose one. Okay, here's the deal. Because it's so popular, we're going to give away 2. One Facebook, one YouTube.
That's a good idea.
Okay, go for it. Choose Facebook first. That's the best way to do it. Swipe it down randomly.
Rob Liggett.
Rob Liggett, congratulations. Reach out to us today, Rob Liggett. We get one of these jackets out to you. And then YouTube.
Oh my gosh. Chuck Brinkley.
Chuck Brinkley, congratulations. Fantastic. And yeah, these are guys' jackets. They will fit ladies. Obviously it's oversized and that sort of thing. And they go from small up to XXX.
I
And
believe
again,
yours
it
is a
should be.
medium.
Yeah,
Just FYI, Jesse's is a
This
medium and
week?
it fits her good.
Are the jackets going to be up this week? You think?
It's possible.
Okay. I think we have everything we need. We just needed a model, show off how they look, right? They won't use me anymore for some reason. Product sales went down, I think. All right. Let's do another question before we do our. But we have 2 giveaways left.
Manson,
Yeah.
if you're doing a half an hour, there's 3 minutes left.
Oh, so you actually have it timed out?
I mean, it's almost.
Is it gonna shut off on us, or is it
No,
just?
no. you
Okay.
can continue.
Yeah. No. I know what time we're at. We're just like we're gonna, but I just want to make sure it doesn't automatically shut off on us.
It won't.
Okay. Cool. So we're gonna go overtime if you don't mind hanging out. All right.
I'm sure they're not.
Let's do
OT.
one more question.
Duraflex versus other competitors.
Oh.
Why?
Go back to youtube.com/Metalcloak and go to some of our older videos. There is the Flex video. There is the Shaker Table video. We're going to actually be redoing those. The team is working on doing those in a modern era for the new products because some of the companies have actually stepped up and made newer versions of those joints. Or there's 1 or 2 joints that are actually rather prolific that are sold by a company that several companies are now using. but just go out and watch those. You'll understand the difference between the Duraflex joint and others. That's something we can talk about, go on and on. But ultimately, the Duraflex joint is the only noise and vibration canceling joint. It's the only joint that has as much flex as it does without any moving parts. And of course, we talked about the self-centering already on the show. So there's a lot of great things about it. And it just is one of the cores that makes our suspension system as good as it is. We've been using it now for, gosh, was it 10 years ago that we introduced the Duraflex to everybody saying, you can't have rubber joints on a Jeep.
Yeah,
That's not going to work.
Everybody said it was going to be a bad idea, and we get away from the Cleveite stock OEM type joints and everything to a ballistic joint and a Johnny joint and all those things, and I've ran them all and rebuilding them and cleaning them and maintaining them, and oh my goodness, when you hear that Jeep coming, well, there's a reason you can hear it coming.
Right.
That sand gets in them, all of that stuff. That doesn't happen with the Duraflex joint. So.
No, I still remember you and I on the Winter Fun Fest in the TJ going down through, and I'm hearing all the squeaking. I'm hearing all the squeaking. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I'm trying to show off our lock and load long arm kit to Corey on the TJ, and it's squeaking and squeaking and squeaking. What is that? So I stopped, and the squeaking continued, only to realize it was the guy behind us with the old Rubicon Express kit on that was squeaking. Maintenance free, quiet, just a great overall system.
Definitely.
All right, let's before we do our final award. How do you want to give away this puppy?
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
What do you want to do, girl?
Let's give it away.
How do you want to give it? Here, or there?
Let's do YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do YouTube. Fantastic.
How about Jamie Cond
Jamie Conde.
Jr.?
Jamie Conde. Is it C-O-N-D-E?
Conde.
Yeah. Oh, he's one of our. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
Jamie. Fantastic. Congratulations, Jamie. You got it. Now you have to put it together.
Yeah.
And you have to actually show it that you actually put it together. You can't just and you have to be the one to do it. You can't have your kid do it.
So a friend of ours actually purchased a couple of those. Christian's out there. He's probably watching if he's not at work. But he bought 2 of those kits, and he created a 4-door.
I saw
Yes.
it. Yeah, he's got a 2-door and a 4-door. So he
Too
has
much
3
time.
kits.
And I made fun of him because we got
What's
our
funny
stuff
is how many
tonight.
people were going, 4-door? I didn't know you could buy a 4-door version.
Yeah, I know. Well, it looks so clean.
It's like, and
But
you know
that's
what?
the beauty of
Like,
Lego.
totally.
Isn't it funny? We put it together because we follow the directions, but as kids, we didn't have directions for
No.
Legos. We just built stuff.
You didn't?
Yeah.
I
No.
don't think I had
Not
directions.
that until no.
Well, you always had the builder's kits. Now, Gary, whose voice you heard back there, Gary is our Lego master. He has a room in his house dedicated to Legos.
Wow.
He has like the Millennium Falcon kit and the other kits and that.
I just saw it was the what do you call the Walker dude in a store, and it was like
dude.
it was,
The AT&T.
yeah, the AT&T. It was like $160.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not cheap.
Oh no, he's spent
Kids.
a lot more money than that on
Oh, yeah.
kits.
Yeah.
I have one that cost me $1,200,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
but it's about
1,200.
the size of this desk.
So you just never.
Millennium Falcon, right?
That's a Super Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Super.
But yeah, I do
Nice.
have the Millennium Falcon. That one's
Sweet.
about 800.
And
Do
how
you
many
ever-
pieces were in that 1,200 kit?
The
Million?
that one was about 3,400, 3,500.
3,400 pieces.
Yeah.
Do you ever walk
And
into
it
that
took an
bedroom?
afternoon to put it together.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever walk in that bedroom barefoot?
Yes.
Oh no, he is like super organized.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
You know,
Cool.
that's
Kid,
the
yeah.
one thing all my kids get into Legos just so they get organized and start thinking
Wait
about.
till you step on them.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
no.
step
Well, we've got the big ones.
Yeah.
And so I don't know
Big
if my
Legos.
kids
Oh,
are
you'll
ever.
still step on those too.
I don't know if my kids, the way they treat the big ones, I'm not sure they're going to ever get into like the little Legos. You know, my cousin was into them, and he had all of them color separated, the big boxes of bins and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of my good friends, his sons were into it, but they had just one giant bin, all 10,000 pieces.
Well, I don't know if Lego really knew what they were getting themselves into when they started selling the Jeeps, because I think it's pretty cool, and I bet there's a whole lot of variations that we'll see over
I'm
time.
waiting for the Bronco one.
You can have that
No,
one.
I'm just saying, I want to see a Bronco versus Jeep Lego.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Now is there going to be a movie? We should make our own movie. We should make our own Lego movie.
Yes.
We're gonna take the Jeep over, and it's gonna be in Star Wars land.
How did we get here?
We're gonna go over to Gary's house, and we're gonna have a whole big movie done.
I'll even build them.
Yeah,
There you go.
fantastic.
Work, I'll do it.
That's fantastic. Okay, guys, It has been a fantastic show so far. We have our last giveaway to do, okay? For all of you who've been involved in supporting, and it's just been great. So, but let's go through. This is our very last giveaway. This is number one, the number one pick. So we got a randomizer, and it is 238, number 238 of the entries.
238. I was pretty close.
Pretty close.
Let's see if we go down to the bottom of this page. Oh, yeah. So this is on page. What page am I on? Page number 12. And if I scroll down here to number 238,
Who is it?
Javier Reyes.
Javier Reyes, congratulations. What did he ask for? JK Wrangler Duraflex control arms, full set. Well, fantastic. JK Wrangler Duraflex control arms, full set for Javier Reyes. You have until the close of business today. But congratulations. That is your number one on your wish list, and you have won it, buddy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This
that's
is cool.
pretty
So I think this is cool. This is our first ever Modern Jeeper Live. This is our first ever really doing this, because it's always been a Metalcloak Live event. And I think it worked out great.
It's weird when we can all sit here and talk to each other
I
and
know.
not talk to a microphone or a screen. And we've talked about the technology that we have that enables us to do the podcast for the last 99 episodes,
Right.
sitting in different parts of the country with guests that call in and all of that. And yeah, this is.
And as a
nice.
matter of full disclosure, we're actually in 3 different rooms and practicing social distancing right now. It's the
totally
magic of television. We're in the same room.
Right. Yeah, I've actually got a mask on, but it's part of the green screen, so they can remove it.
They put mouths on set.
Oh, Lord.
Oh boy. Well, 2021 is already going to start out to be a great year. 2020 was very interesting. It was pretty good for the off-road community, though.
Yeah.
But we're into 2021. So
We have lots
I think
going on. We
I've-
have 3 registrations for the Modern Jeeper Adventures already live and up and running. We've got Death Valley, we've got Moab, we've got Tillamook that are already up there and live. Rubicon's coming soon. We'll have dates for Colorado. We might put together the Georgia Traverse. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see what we can fill up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so make sure you're out there. Follow us on ModernJeeper.com, ModernJeeperAdventures.com. We have Modern Jeeper Forum. Well, of course, all of you guys that did the I Resolve the Jeep, get in there. Help that forum grow. Ask the questions. All these technical questions are great ones for the forum. We'll get in there and answer those. I forgot we had some of these cups to give away, too. So we're going to choose after the fact. We're going to choose a few of you and reach out to and give a few of these cups away. These are Metalcloak Arctic cups, and we'll give those away. So otherwise, is there anything you guys would like to add?
Man, I mean, I think it's amazing. We had 329 people register for the I Resolved a Jeep. It shows what a base we have, and join us on a trip. Reach out to us through any of our social media pages. Say hi.
Yeah.
We'd love to see you at an event. Come on out. Look at the grab a Modern Jeeper calendar. We are in the process of revamping the ModernJeeper.com page. It's getting fixed. Finally, our calendar will get fixed. Things should work a lot
Right.
better. So
Technology.
yeah,
it's great.
yeah. It's
Yes.
again, it's
We're
coming
migrating other pages and stuff too, so there's a lot happening. So
together, for sure.
wow, I think this has been another great episode. Pay attention, watch this, listen to it tomorrow, and join us and subscribe to our YouTube channel for us, and subscribe to or like the podcast if you're listening to this online, as well as just follow us in years to come, because it's the next 100 episodes is coming up.
That's right.
Yep.
In another almost 2 years from now, we'll have the
I don't know.
200th.
We might have to do
episode.
2 a week.
We're gonna need help.
Yeah.
We're gonna need help.
We're going to need a lot of it.
Mental help.
Right.
Well, Modern Jeepers, thank you again for joining us. You know how to reach us. Corey at ModernJeeper.com, Jessy at Corey at Metalcloak.com, Jessy at Metalcloak.com, Matson at Metalcloak.com. Or, like I said, reach us out on social media. We are on all the social media places. Even when Parler comes back up, we will be there.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. See ya.